Good evening, dear students. I hope you're doing well. For today, we will talk about Unit 3, page 16, Caring for the Environment. سلاوتان لبت خوێندکارانی ئازیز ئێوارەتان باش بۆ ئەمڕۆ باسی یونیتی 3 ئەکەین Caring for the Environment واتە بەیەقدان بە ژینگە. We have listening skill, speaking skill and research in this unit. Okay, we will start. Thank you for submitting your assignment. I saw all of them. هەموو assignment و homeworkەکانتانم بینی بەدەستم گەیشت لە ڕێگەی جیمێلەوە یاخود لە ڕێگەی هارد کۆپیەوە بێ. Thank you so much. Okay, in here look at this. For listening part, working together. We have 3 questions about this unit. Number 1. What do you know about Earth Hour? Did you hear about this Earth Hour? كاتب زاني إما تشي أزاني درباري Earth Hour ساعاتك بوزي أو ساعاتك بوزي دان راوا. Do you know something about this? هشتك أزاني درباري. Okay, second one. What can you tell from the poster? What are the keywords? What does the picture tell you? زين أمانة چی ما برو أنا كاتو باسي چی أكات. Number 3. What do you want to know about Earth Hour? Write 3 questions. أتيجي بزاني درباري Earth Hour سبرسيار بنوسا لسري. Okay. Before reading the study scale, look at this. We have a poster, Earth Hour, lecture and discussion. كاتا ساعاتك بوزوي lecture and discussion. وانيك لقل discussion مناقشة. Are you worried about the environment? Do you want to go green? Talk by Dr. Andrew Smith, room B24, Tuesday, 17th, 2 p.m. In this poster, we have some information about Earth Hour. لم بوستر زانيارك من هيدر باري Earth Hour واتساعتك بوزوي كأما مناقشة ليكتشر شوانيكو مناقشة تدا أكره وقفتقوي تدا ذكره. Are you worried about the environment? آياتوني قراني بوجينجا. Do you want to go green? تو أتريد كزي برو صوصبونو برو باكي بروات. We have this conversation by Dr. Andrew Smith. قفتقوي للان دكتور أندريو كأمش ناو نشانة كده room B24 كاتاكي Tuesday 17th 2 p.m. Okay, we get some information from this poster. Okay, كأما لما بوسترات زاني ريكمان ديسكو. The talk by Dr. Andrew and the time, the room, and that is lecture and discussion. كأمش تنها وانيقني بلكو مناقشة شي تدا ذكرت. Okay, back to here. What do you know about Earth Hour? توشي أزاني درباري Earth Hour؟ هيك تبستو درباري ساعاتك بوزوي؟ No. Yeah, if yes, okay. If no, I will tell you. We will read this text about Dr. Andrew and we will know about Earth Hour. Okay? But before reading this text, we will read this study skill, this box in this corner. Boxek man هي لم corner لم سوچيا. We will read it. Study skill taking notes. When you're listening to a talk or lecture, try to identify the keywords which give you the most important information. هر كاتك جولا قسكردنك ياخد لقفتقويك لوانيك أقرن بيوسا إيو بزان كآية وانا كدر بعريت شيا. Keywords سكاني تشين. Keywords it means the most important information. قرنترين زانياري لم conversation لم قسكردن لم وانيت شيا. إما معنى تركيز بخينا سر چی معنى باسی چی بکەین کاتە keywords واتە ئەو وشەیە زۆر گرنگە و بابەتەکە ئەو شتانەی تر باسی ئەکەین زانیاریە لەسەر ئەو وشەیە زانیاریە لەسەر ئەو keywordە هەموو ئەو شتانی کە باس ئەکرێ بۆ منە نمونە بێت ڕستە نووسین بێت یاخود هەر شتێکی تر بێت هەر یا ڤیدیۆیەک بێت دەربارەی keywordێکە دەربارەی وشەیەکە بۆ نمونە ئێمە تێکستێکمان هەیە لێرە دەربارەی Earth Hour كاتا earth hour ليريا كإما بابتا كمان لسر أو موضوعية لسر أو ناوية بوتا keyword man. Keyword, it means the all information belonging to that word, belonging to that keyword. كاتا همو زانياري كان أقرته بو بوشية أقرته بو أو keyword. Keywords are often repeated and stressed. كاتا أو keywordاني كإما باسي ليوا كنو زانياري كان درباري أول دوباره أكرينو stressed and stressed. Stressed, it means someone, the talker or the person that talk about this must read that word louder and longer. أبي stress بخات السري longer through louder ترواتا بلينكي برسو بدور دريشتر أو شيء بلد بوهي أزاني كأو شيء ما keyword و دوباره كراوتو چند جارك زياد لجارك دوباره أكريتوا بما دركويت كموضوعك لسر أو بابتها. Sometimes speakers explain or give examples to show what the keywords mean. Okay. هندكات speaker معني ياخد قصة كركا نمونا أداة باسي أو keyword هم أكاد كمعنى يشيو ليشو هاتو ياخد لصالي شنو دسي بكردو أجر شتيك بيت بون من event بيت ياخد هرشتيكي تر قاطع هم زانياري كان أجرته بو keyword كمان كباس أكريت always make note of keywords you hear وهميشا note تبيني بنوسن لسر أو keywordاني كتو جود لأبه كزياد لجارك دوباره أكريته وشكا ياخد الروشيك الرئيسية كهمو زانياري كان يتر أجرته بو. The most important word that all of the information belonging to that word and you must to be careful. You must be listen carefully. You can hear that word more than once. كتو جوابيسي أو شيء أبي زياتر لجارك. It's called keyword. كاتبي أو تري keyword. We have this text. I'll play the audio for you about Dr. Andrew and Earth Hour. I'll play the audio. Listen carefully. Listen carefully for the stressed words and listen carefully for the keywords. بزاني شو شيء بدورو دريشترو با قرستر أو تريت ياخد بزاني keyword كان كامانا كزياد لجارك دوباره أكرينو. I'll play the audio for you.
3.1 Part 1. Hello, I'm Dr. Andrew Smith, Professor of Environmental Studies at Braunton University. Today I'm here to talk about a global event called Earth Hour. I'm sure some of you have heard of it, right? Well, the global success of Earth Hour shows that ordinary people all over the world really want to stop pollution. By ordinary people, I mean people like you and me. For those of you who don't know, let me tell you a little bit about Earth Hour before I explain why I think it is such an important event.
Okay, you heard that conversation, Dr. Andrew Smith. Hello, I'm Dr. Andrew Smith, Professor of Environmental Studies at Braunton. كاتم Professor لكل Environmental Studies لا جينجا خندني جينجي لبرونتون University. Today I'm here to talk about global event called Earth Hour. كاتا أمرو أوليريا كدرباري global event ياخد event جهاني قصب كات كأبيش Earth Hour ساعاتك بوسوي. I'm sure some of you have heard of it. من ضمنهم كهندق ليوا جوبستيبون, right? Well, the global success of Earth Hour shows that ordinary people all over the world really want to stop pollution. كاتا Earth Hour تشبيشان أداة أو ساعات بوزوي كخلقي أسايم لطوابي جيهانا أنويت تشبوستنن stop pollution جينجا بيزبون بوستنن. By ordinary people كألاي خلقي أسايم I mean people like you and me. بستم خلقي وكو تو وكو خومو وكو إيوه. For those of you who don't know بۆ کەسانی کە نازانن let me tell you a little bit about Earth Hour before I explain why با هەندێ زانیاریتان بەمێ دەربارەی Earth Hour پێش ئەوەی کە ڕوونی بکەمەوە بۆچی I think it's such an important event کە بۆچی ئەمە ئیڤنتێکی گرنگە ئیڤنتێکە کە پێویستە باس بکرێت okay in here we have this in here read the introduction to the talk and circle the keywords then find the keyword that Dr. Smith explained okay we have some keywords in here that repeated more than once and Dr. Smith stressed on this word کاتە لێرە چەند کیوەردێکمان هەیە کە هەموو زانیاریەکان بۆ وشانە ئەگەڕێنەوە وشەی سەرەکین و Dr. Smith repeated more than once لە جارێک زیاتر دووبارەی کردەوە و سترێسی خستە سەر okay try to circle around these keywords هەوڵبن بازنەی بکێشن بە دەوری کیوەردەکانمانە بزانین چی بوون okay can you guess it try to find them okay in here we have some keywords number 1 global event کاتەکە eventێک یاخود بۆنێکی جیهانیە also earth hour ساعتێک بۆ زەوی چکە بابەتەکەمان دەربارەی ئەو ساعتێ بۆ زەوی okay the other one important event بۆنێکی گرنگە that's the most important information in this text and we can call them keywords کاتەوە گرنگترین زانیاریەکانی ئەم تێکستن و بە keyword ناو ئەبرێن okay we have a question in here does Dr. Smith stress the keywords Dr. Smith stressi خستە سەر keywordەکان و وشە ڕئیسیەکانمان let's listen again and focus on them جارێکتر گوێبیستیە بینەوە و فۆکەسە خێنە سەری
3.1 Part 1 Hello, I'm Dr. Andrew Smith, Professor of Environmental Studies at Braunton University. Today I'm here to talk about a global event called Earth Hour. I'm sure some of you have heard of it, right? Well, the global success of Earth Hour shows that ordinary people all over the world really want to stop pollution. By ordinary people, I mean people like you and me. For those of you who don't know, let me tell you a little bit about Earth Hour before I explain why I think it is such an important event.
Okay, in here we listened to them and we heard that global event, Earth Hour, an important event. They are the keywords of that passage of that text. Or keyword or text one. Okay, we have another exercise number 4. We have some keywords and we have some parts that Dr. Smith talk about. Dr. Smith basichan partekad we have 5 parts. Dr. Smith explained part 1. We have global event important Earth Hour as a keyword for the first part. Got a keyword party yakami body arikardun. We will hear or we will listen to the next part. I mean part 2, 3, 4, 5 and we circle around the keywords for each part. Circle around each word, each keywords for each part. Kata emegwe bisi partaana abinu keyword akani o partani tirdiyari again. The most important word that all of the information belonging to that word. Kata o زانیاری که گرنگترینه رئیسی ترینه و زانیاری کانی تر اگرانو بو او. Let's listen to that audio and select the keywords. for each part. قاعد تسمى جوبيس يبينو keyword كاني part كاني تردياري أكي. 3.2
3.2 Part 2 Earth Hour started in Sydney, Australia in 2007. The plan was to use less electricity to reduce carbon emissions. The idea of Earth Hour was simple. Just turn off your lights for an hour. The idea worked. Over 2 million people in Sydney turned off their lights for 1 whole hour on the evening of March the 31st and sat in the dark. It was an incredible sight. Dark streets everywhere. Part 3. And it didn't stop there. In 2008, only 1 year after it started, 50 million people in 35 countries switched off their lights for an hour. In 2009, hundreds of millions of people switched off in over 4,000 cities. In 2010, there were 126 countries involved all around the world. Imagine that. All those people switching off their lights and sitting in the dark, talking, laughing. It was wonderful. Part 4. Why is it growing so fast? Well, because of the media, the papers, television, the internet. Without publicity in the media, people won't join in. Nobody wants to be the only one sitting in the dark. Earth Hour had really great publicity. In the world's newspapers and on television, there were pictures of famous buildings going dark. I remember seeing Big Ben in London and the tallest tower in Dubai with its lights off. Earth Hour was also on the internet and the radio. Everyone was talking about it. Part 5. But why is it important? It's only 1 hour a year, after all. Well, it's important because it unites people and makes them think. For that 1 hour, millions of people are working together to help stop pollution. So this year, I will certainly turn off my lights during Earth Hour, and my TV, computer, and everything else too. I hope you will too. Thank you for listening. Now, I can see that a lot of you have questions. We have 15 minutes before we have to wrap up.
Okay, we heard that conversation about Earth Hour, and we must select the keywords for each part. For part number 2, we have Sydney 2007 plan, 10 off lights, 1 hour March. You hear that conversation about Earth Hour, that they turned off everything for 1 hour. Every lights, computers, networks, radios, TV shows, TVs. قاطع Earth Hour أو بونية كبو ماوي ساعاتك لهمو جيهان دا كومبالك كاس بو ماوي أو ساعات دياري كراوا هموش تيد أكو جنوا بقول بيت ياخد تلفزيون بيت ياخد راديو بيت كمبيوتر بيت ياخد إنترنت هموي أكو جنوا بو ماوي ساعاتك وكو وفايق بو جينجا كاف جينجا لبيزبون بباريزن بو ماوي ساعاتك هر همويان أكو جنوا. In here in part 2, Kawata, Earth Hour started in Sydney in 2007. كان دستي بيكر ل 2007 لسيدني دستي بيكر. The plan was to turn off your lights for 1 hour. بلانك أو بكا هموشتك بكو جنوبو ماوي ساعتك هموروناكي كان بكو جنوبو ماوي ساعتك. The keywords for this part is Sydney, We have Sydney, 2007. Okay, what is the plan? Turning off lights for 1 hour. There are keywords for the second part. قاطع أمام keyword كاني party دوامبو. The main point, what is the main point of this? The main point كمان تشيبو كإما درباري قسمان كردو دياري ما كرت يعني أو قصة كنا كي دكتور سميث. The keyword كاني تشيبون رئيسي كي تشيبوت. For number 1 we have this. For number 1, Earth Hour is an important global event. كاتو رستا سريكي بارتي يكمبو Earth Hour ك بونيكي جهاني وجرنجا أو خالي يكم بو main point واتا جرنجترين point رئيسي ترين idea بيروكا بو بشي يكم. For the next part, for part number 2, the main point for this part is بيروكي سريكي أم part تشيبو Earth Hour Earth Hour started in Sydney, okay, in 2007. وقتل جوزارو حوتا دسي بيكردو. The plan was to turn off the lights. Earth Hour started in Sydney in 2007. Okay, the plan was, the plan was to turn off lights for 1 hour. كانت بلانك أوبو كابو ماوي ساعاتك همو كسك همو تاكك قلوبكي بكو جانتها. ما Earth Hour بلاني Earth Hour بمشي ويبو ومين ايدي بارتي دومان كاتب بيروكي سريكي بارتي دومان بمشي ويبو. For the other part, part number 3, for part number 3 we have stop, we have number 3, stop millions people switch off laughing. The main point for this part is that's number 2. For number 3, millions of people have switched off their lights. Millions of people look at this. We have stopped millions people switched off laughing. In the box لا بوكسكا وشكان معناه إما تنها idea سريكيكا main point كا أنوسين كدكتور سميث mentioned كدكتور سميث بحثي كردو روني كردوا إما تنها رستكا رستيكي سريكي بو هر بارتك أنوسين. For number 3, millions of people have switched off. Millions of people have switched off their lights over the past few years. كاتبوا مال چند ساڵی پێش و ملیۆنان خەڵک لایتەکانیان کوژاندەوە ڕووناکیەکانیان کوژاندەوە کە ئەمەش ئەگەڕێتەوە بۆچی Earth Hour. Okay, in number 3 we have millions people switched off. Okay, for number 3 we have 3 keywords. Number 4, growing media, growing واتە گەشەکردن media هەر واتە media publicity بەناوبانگبوون یاخود ناوبانگ famous هەر بەمانای بەناوبانگبوونیەت buildings واتە بینە. In here in part number 4 the keywords for this part or the main point at the first I will write the main point, after that I'll tell you the keywords. من ڕستە سەرێکەکەی پارتی چوارەم ئەنووسم دوای ئەوە کیوەردەکانی دیاری ئەەکەین بۆی بۆتان ئاسانتر بێ بۆمان دەرکەوێت کە کیوەردەکان وشە سەرێکیەکان کامانن. Number 4, the event Look at this. Dr. Smith mentioned that sentence in number 4, part number 4. The event is growing because of publicity in the media. كاتا أم event أم بونيا چون گەشەی سند و growing واتە گەشە سندن چون گەشەی سند because of لەبەر چی گەشەی سند because of publicity in the media لەبەر ئەو ناوبانگەی کە لە میدیای هەبوو لە سوشیال میدیا بۆ نمونە لە فیسبوک لە ئینستاگرام لە تویتر لە سناب چات بۆی ئەو publicity و ناوبانگەی کە هەیبوو ئەم ئیڤنتە ئەم بۆنەیە گەشەی سند و بەناوبانگ بوو. کاتا the keywords for number 4 is growing, media, publicity. We select publicity because publicity more general rather than famous. لبري publicity ناوبانگ بەناوبانگ بوون لەو شەی famous زیاترێکە و چۆنەڵی سەرکی ترێکە بۆی ئەمە publicity هەڵەبژێرین. Okay, we selected number 4. The event is growing because of the publicity in the media. بۆنە کەمان بەرەو پێشچوو گەشەی سند لەبەر ئەو ناوبانگی هەیبوو لە میدیایە. For number 5, I will write number 5. Try to find the keywords. Try to select the keywords for number 5. من پێنجەم ئەنووسم هەوڵ بەم بزانین کیوەردەکانی کامەیە. Number 5. It's a very important event because it unites people to stop pollution. هذا وەک پێشتر ئاماژەمان پێکرد important event keywordێک بوو because it unites کاتە بۆچی ئەم بۆنەیە گرنگە گرنگە لەبەر ئەوە it unite people to stop pollution ئەمە وا لە خەڵکەکە unites خەڵک کۆ ئەکاتەوە یاخود خەڵک یەکگرتوو ئەکات لەسەر ئەوەی کە هەمویان stop pollution ژینگە پیسبوون بوەستێنن ژینگە پیسبوون بوەستێنن کەواتە ئەم earth hourە ئامانجی چییە ئەیمی چییە the aim of this earth hour for stopping pollution around the world کاتە بۆ وەستانی pollutionە ژینگە پیسبوونە لە تەواوی جیهاندا کاتە ئامانجی ئەم سەعاتە کە هەموو کەسێک لایت و هەرچی شتی کاربایی بێ ئەیکوژێنە سەوا تەنها بۆ ئەوەیە کە ژینگە بۆ ماوەی سەعاتێک ئیسراحەت بکات لە تەواوی دنیاە هەموو ئەو خەڵکانە ئەو کارە ئەکەن ملیۆنان کەس ئەو کارە ئەکەن. Number 5. It's a very important event because it unites people to stop pollution. Main idea كمانا بيروكي سريكي party بينجامبو. Try to underline keywords in here. كوات أتواني بريار بك keyword كانت جين. Yes, of course. Important. Unites people. Unites واتكوين أكاتو يقرتوين أكات. Important unites people. The most important keywords in part 5 is important unite people. Okay. Kata keyword can the most general information, the most important information in that text, and repeated more than once and stress it on. Kata o keyword ani ke ema hamana وش سريكه كان من زياد لجاري دوباره اكرينو ستريز اخرته سريان بو كاتي وتن وهروها همو زانياركاني تر بو وشي اقرانو. I hope you understand this. Okay, we have this exercise number 6. In here we have 3 words. Read the questions in the table below. Choose a type of answer from the box for each question and write in the table. اما table معناه خشتيك معناه لريا. We have this table in here and we must read the questions in the table. That's 6. We have 6 questions. We must read them and choose a type of answer. زاني والله ما كان ينبت شويك أبد أم برسيارانا. والله ما كان ينبت number ياخد length of time or a year. زاني والله ما كان يبقى جمارة أبد ياخد بصالة أبد ياخد length of time واتا كاتيكي دياري كراو بكات. Okay, we must to select the answer for them. It must be the type of answer. It must be number or length of time over a year. قاتمة جوري والله ما كدياري أكين كأي بصالة بجوابينه ياخد بكاتيكي دياري كراو ياخد بجمارة. بون منا in number 1, in what year did Earth hour start? In what year? قاتل اللي تشصالك ده Earth hour start. دستي بيكرت. Earth hour start. It said year. You must to answer by year. قاعدة أقر بليلة شصالك ده تو بيس بد جابا كشت هربا صالبت. How long do people turn off the lights for? Okay. How long do people turn off the lights for? How long it means Maui chant. Maui chant. Katek Maui chant. Okay. You must to answer this how long by the length of time. أو كبت الله chant بو Maui chant خلق لايتا كانيان أكو جنو غلوبا كانيان أكو جنو. You must to answer by the time. كاتا length of time belonging to number 2. Length of time. Length of time. Sorry about my handwriting. Length of time. Number 3. How many people turned off their lights in the first year? How many? It means what? How many? Chant. You must answer this question by number. Okay, by number. Because it said how many. Number 4. How many people were involved in 2008 قاعدة involved it means بەشدار بوون چەند خەڵک بەشدار بوو ژمارەکان چەند بوو لە 2008 in 2008 For number 5 how many cities were involved چەند شار بەشدار بوون لە ساڵی 2009 And the last one, how many countries were involved in 2010? How many? When asked by how many, you must to answer by number. هر کاتێک بە how many پرسیار کرات و ئەوێ بە number و بە ژمارە جواب بیتەوە. کاتە number 3 till number 6 you must to answer them by number. Number. But the first one, it said in what year. You must to answer by year. And the second one, how long. You must to answer by time. We have an audio. We must to listen to the audio and select the answer for these questions. كات اما جويل audio يك اقرينو جوابي برسياركان ادينو. ليكم دانا in what year did Earth hour start? كات اللي تصالك the Earth hour دستي بيكر. Number 2, how long do people turn off the lights for? بوماوي چند خلق لا Earth hour light كانيان اكو جنو. Number 3, how many people turned off their lights in the first year? چند کس لسالی یکم دا light كانيان اكو جاندو. How many people were involved in 2008? How many cities involved in 2009? كاتا چند خلق بجدار من ل 2008 و چند شهر ل 2009 دا بجدار بون و چند country چند ولات لسال 2010 بجدار بون. Okay, we will listen to the audio and select the answer for them. We must to answer them for number 1 by year, for number 2 by time, for the other one by number. I'll play the audio 3.3.
Part 2. Earth Hour started in Sydney, Australia in 2007. The plan was to use less electricity to reduce carbon emissions. The idea of Earth Hour was simple. Just turn off your lights for an hour. The idea worked. Over 2 million people in Sydney turned off their lights for 1 whole hour on the evening of March the 31st and sat in the dark. It was an incredible sight. Dark streets everywhere. Part 3. And it didn't stop there. In 2008, only 1 year after it started, 50 million people in 35 countries switched off their lights for an hour. In 2009, hundreds of millions of people switched off in over 4,000 cities. In 2010, there were 126 countries involved all around the world. Imagine that. All those people switching off their lights and sitting in the dark, talking, laughing. It was wonderful.
Okay, can you answer them? Can you answer these questions? For number 1, in what year did Earth hour start? In 2007 Earth hour started in Sydney. قاتل لصالي 2007 دستي بيكر لسيدني. Number 2, how long do people turn off their lights? Okay, they turn off their lights for an hour. For 1 hour. بوماوي يك ساعات. How many people turned off their lights in the first year? In the first year, over 2 million people turned off their lights. قاتل لصالي يكما 2 مليون كازياتر 2 million people involved and turned off their lights. بجدار بونو لايتا كانيان كوجاندو. How many people were involved in 2008 چهارم لسالی 2018 چند کس بەشدار بوون. In 2008 15 million people involved. Look at this difference. In 2007 2 million people. In 2008 15 million people. لسالی یکم تنها 2 میلیون کس. لسالی دوم که اکات 2008 15 million people. 50 میلیون کس. How many cities involved in 2009? Okay, the cities that involved in 2009 4,000 cities. 4,000 cities. 4,000 شهر بەشدار بوو لە ساڵی 2009. How many countries involved in 2010? The number of involved cities in 2010 is 126 cities. 126 cities. 126 وڵات بەشدار بوون لە ساڵی 2010. کاتە لە ساڵی سێم بوو بە 126 وڵات. Okay, we have a box in here talking about numbers. We will read it, but be careful about these answers because they are important. They are talking about the main point of Earth hour, the main or the general idea about Earth hour. بۆکسی هەمانە ئەم ڕاهێنانەی هەمانە باسی گرنگترین زانیاریەکانەکە کە لە ئێرث ئاورە هەمانە. ساڵی چەند دەستی پێکردو بۆ ماوەی چەندێکە، ساڵی یەکەم چەند کەس بەشدار بوون یاخود هەر زانیاریەکی تر بێ. In here we have this box, this purple box. Numbers. You need to fast, okay, you need to be fast when you take notes about numbers. پێویستە تۆ خێرا بنووسی کاتێک تێبینیەک ئەنووسی دەربارەی ژمارەکان. You must be fast. You must write fast. Use figures, not words. هەر کاتێک کە تۆ taking noteەکەی واتە تێبینی ئەنووسی you must write figures. تۆ پێویستە هێما بنووسی نەوەکو تەواوی وشەکە. بۆ نمونە 2, that's a figure of 2. You must write like this, not like words. Okay, write as a figure, not as a word. کاتە پێویستە کە تۆ تێبینی ئەنووسی کە نۆتەکەی taking نۆتەکەی بە number بنووسی بە figure بنووسی نەوەکو بنووسی. Use abbreviation. You must use abbreviation. For example, M as a sign of million, H as a sign for hour, and min as a sign of minutes. You must use abbreviation to be fast. بۆی خێرا بنووسی پێویستە کورکراوە بەکاربهێنی. As I said, M for million, H for hour, min for minutes, or Y as a sign of year. کاتە توانی کورکراوە بەکاربهێنیت لە کاتی تێبینی نووسینە چونکە کاتێکی وات لە بەردەستانی و پێویستە سەریع بنووسی. Years. Look at how we say years. We have some years. Look at this. How can we pronounce year? How can we say years? بزانین چۆن ئەتوانین ساڵەکان بخوێنینەوە. 2012. 2012. For example, 2021. Read them as a two-part. Part 1, read number 1 and number 2, number 3 and number 4 for the next part. 2021. Okay, read them as two part. 2012, 1987, 1800. Okay, read them as two parts. That will be easy for you. For example, we have in here we have 2018. We have 7, we have 28, we have 126. Divide them for two parts. For example, we have this we have this number. Try to read them. Try to read this year. Okay. Make them to be two parts. Read them 1964. 1964 as a two part, not as a unit. That will be easy for you to read this number as a two part. Okay, dividing them for two parts. کاتی مجموعه کن دابش کن بودو باش او اسانتری که بخمنه. Okay. In here we have another exercise. Listen to a student giving a summary of the talk about Earth hour. Write numbers he gives in the table. مشبه ما شوى وزاني ركاني سرويا in the year Earth hour started. أو صالك Earth hour started. كم صالبو صالي چنبو. We mentioned it before. بيشتر أواجه من بكر. Number 2. How long people turn lights off for? The number of people who turned off their lights in the first year, or the number of countries involved in 2010. We mentioned all of this information before. You can ask someone, so for example your friend, your partner, and ask them and they must answer you correctly. هتتواني أمبرسيارنا لا حوركت كي ياخذ بارتنر كوكيد زاني همان جواب آتو زانياري هيدر باري ياخذنا. Okay, we have this number in here. When you are taking note, be careful about the numbers. You must write abbreviation for numbers. 2 million. Don't write like this. 2 million. Don't write like this because that make you to be slow or slow down. But in here, when you are writing this as a figure and as abbreviation, you are so fast. You can hear everything when you are listening for something. You can hear everything and you can write down them easily. كاتر كاتي كوركراو بكار بهنيت آسان تريكا بوتو وأكاد سريع تربيتو زانياري كان بطاوتي بدس بهني. Okay, in here, talking about numbers. Also, we have numbers. We have numbers. Okay, I'll back to here. We have numbers that ending with teen, and we have numbers ending with T. We have two types of number, teen and ending with teen, ending with T. For example, 15. 15. But 50, it means we have 5 and 0. We have 14. And in here we have 40, ending with T. We have, for example, 19. And also we have 90. We have 18 and we have 80. Be careful about them. If ended with ty, it means you have a 0. But ended with teen, it means you have the number like this. We have 1 before the number. Be careful about reading numbers. In here we have another point about numbers. Okay, we have an audio talking about numbers. Listen to a presenter talking about China. Write numbers. I will play the audio. You hear the number of bicycles in China, towns in China, cities in China, Chinese people traveling to work by bicycle, people that are using bicycles, a daily life for traveling, for transporting, and bicycle in the bike park. Okay. We have an audio. You must write down numbers. Okay, we have numbers. The type of answer is numbers. Numbers. چەند کەشنێکمانێت چەند پرسیارێکمانێت پێویستە وەڵامەکانی بە نەمبەر بێ بە ژمارە بێت ئەم ئۆدیۆمان هەیە ساوندەمان هەیە پڵی ئەەکەم بۆتان تکایە بینووسن بزانم تا چەندێک ئەتوانن ژمارەکان بنووسن هەوڵ بن لەگەڵیان پەیپەر و پێنتان با پێ بێت و هەر لار ڤیددیۆیەکدا کاتێک ئێمە ڤیددیۆک ئامادە ئەکەین تکایە بە قەڵەم و وەرەقەیەکتان پێ بۆی بتوانن ئەوانەی کە پێتان ئەڵم بینووسن و write down them. Okay, I'll play the audio. Listen carefully. Write down the numbers. After that, I will write the correct answer for you, and you can check your answer. کاتێک بێویستی بووین من وەڵامە ڕاستەکەتان بۆ ئەنووسم و ئەتوان وەڵامەکانی خۆتان چێک بکەن و بزان ڕاستان نووسیوە یاخودنا. I'll play audio 3.5.
3.5. When I was in China last year doing research on the environment, you know, one of the most interesting things for me was seeing so many people on bicycles. In China, the bicycle is the main mode of transport for ordinary people. I looked up some numbers, some statistics. Did you know there are probably about 800 million bicycles, 800 million, in China? In thousands of towns, hundreds of cities, and in the countryside too, millions of Chinese people travel to work by bike every day. I saw a bike park, like a car park but for bicycles, with about 30,000 bikes in it. Can you imagine trying to find your bike in that?
Okay. You hear that audio about this? Bicycles in China. How many bicycles in China? Okay. She mentioned that there are 800 million bicycles in China. 800 million bicycles. And towns in China, ژمارە شارۆچکەکان لە China, she mentioned that. Okay, can you guess it? Okay, tell me your answer that you've written. Okay, the number of towns in China, thousands. Thousands towns. We have you in here, and we have a. Thousands towns in China. Cities. How many cities do we have? She said hundreds. Hundred cities in China. Chinese people traveling to work by bicycle. The number of them, millions people, millions Chinese. Millions Chinese traveling to work by bicycle. The last one, bicycles in the bike park. قاعدة كم بايسكل هبوا لك بايك باركك إلا باركي وسطاني بايسكل كان. Okay. 30,000. 30,000 bikes in the bike park. Okay, check your answer, write them correctly and carefully. Be careful about your pronunciation, your spelling. Okay. اما والله ما راستك ابو بوم راهن انا تشيكي والله ما كانت ممكن بمشي وازن وسيوتانا. Okay, we have a study skill box in here. This one, this blue one, that's very important. Before reading this, we will read this box. Study skill talking about numbers. We don't add s to 100,000 and million when we say numbers. Okay, if we have a number before the word of thousand, I'll write it in here. 100 and 1,000. And million. Okay, if we have a number before 100,000 and million, don't add s for them. Don't say hundreds, don't say thousands, don't say millions, because we have a number in here. Okay, for example, 20, 100, 20,000, 20 million. Don't add s for them. Don't. هركاتك لبيش وشي 100,000 million جمارة ما نحبو. Don't use is for 100,000 million. is ما خنصر وشي 100,000 لقل million. لبروي مجمارك من هي لبيشو. But if we didn't have a number, we don't have any number, you can add s for 100 and 1,000 and million. In this time, because we didn't have any number before them, you can add s. You can do it. Okay, be careful about this. لهركاتك دائما لبيش 1,000, 100 and millions جمارة ما نبو أولو كاتا أتوانين اس زيابكين. بلام أجر جمارة ما نهبو أجر نمبرك ما نهبو لبيش يعني إما ناتوانين اس زيابكين. Be careful about this note. As mentioned in here, okay, we don't add s to 100,000 and million when we have a number, when we say numbers. كاتا كجمارة ما نهبو بيزناك as ادي اس okay. بونمنا 4 million cars, 2,000 people, 300 bicycles. However, when we don't say an exact number, we add s. We must to add s and we use of. Millions of car. We add s for this because we didn't have any number before of this. We don't have any number before million. That's why we add s for this. Thousands of people and hundreds of bicycle. We add s for them because we didn't have exact number before them. بروي هیچ ماری که دیاری کرام من نبو اسمان بو millions لقل thousands لقب hundreds أتكردو زيان ما نكرد. Be careful about this note. Put is on 1,000 million where necessary. I will do number 1 and number 2 for you and number 3 number 4 for yourself. يكمو دوام دانا تنبوح لأكم آني تريش for yourself. The rest part for yourself. There are millions of types of plants and animals on earth today. We have millions, but in here we didn't have any exact number. Okay, هيك جماري كدياري كراو مانيا. That's why we must to say millions of type. Number 2, there are over 4 million type of insect. In here we have 4. Okay, when we read this, put is on 1,000 and million where necessary. هذا إملو كاتانا زي أكن كبيوستا. Necessary it means بيوستا وجرينجا. We have, there are over 4 million. We have an exact number. That's why we don't need s. We don't need to add s in this one. لبر أوي كجمارك دياري كراو دقيق معناه s زياد ناكين بو شي million. Okay, number 3 and number 4 for yourself. Do it by yourself. Okay, in here we have this. Listen and check your answer. Practice saying the sentences. We have this statistic. We have this number of in millions and country population. The number of country populations. Populations it means دانشتوان رجي دانشتوان دولاتك دا in millions وبمليون همانا كاتر رجي دانشتوان بمليون. But before doing this we have an exercise about we have a note about this. We have a study skill box. Look at this box. Study skill talking about numbers. We can use there is, there are, or there. Okay, there bonmuna have or has to talk about numbers. There is one Earth hour event every year. كات إما أتوانين there لقل there is ياخد there ياخد has or have بكار بهن لكاتي قصة كردن مان بو درباري قصة كردن مان درباري جمارة كات أتواني بلين there is ياخد they have. okay, there has ياخد بتوانين وشكاني ترد زياد بكين بضم أكثريتي أو شاني كأم بو جمارة بكارينين there is, there are, has, have. We use that words to talking about numbers. أم شانة بكارينين كاتك درباري جمارة قساكين بون منا. There is one Earth hour event. كاتا تنها يك Earth hour event هي لهم every year. لهر صالكة تنها يك جار Earth hour man هي. They have, we have a number in here, also we have a number in here. For numbers we use there is and they have or has or are. They have 15 minutes for questions. They have 15 minutes for questions. Okay, they have, we use it they have because that's a number. We use it there is because that's a number. Sometimes sometimes it's not necessary or possible to give an exact number. إما لا تواني لها مكاتك دا رجيكي دقيق صد بدين ببرامبرا كمان لكاتي قصة كردنا. That's why we can say about, around, 200 or almost, nearly, under, fewer or over, more than. كات إما لا تواني لها محالتك دا رجي تخاطي بين ببرامبرا كاملان بوني من الرجي لدايقون ياخد رجي دانشتوان شو كبر دوام لك كم بونو زياد بونايا ناتوانين بدقيقي جمارك بين بدستوا. That's why we use this. We can say about أتواني أمشانة بكار بين we can use these words like about around about و around معناه كاتا معناه شي again نزيكي almost nearly هربا معناه بنزيكي and fewer واتلخوار كمتر over more زياتر هەردوو كان هەمان مانایان هەیە هەر کامی کان بەکاربهێنین هەر ڕاستە بێت ئەوانی پێشوش بە هەمان شێوە یەک دانیان بەکاربهێنین ڕاستە بێت over more بۆ زۆر زیاتر and fewer بۆ زۆر کەمتر about و around لەگەڵ almost near واتە بەنزیکەی nearly واتە بەنزیکەی they are more than بۆ نمونە they are more than 60 million people in the United Kingdom more than it means upper than 60 million كطالي لشص مليون زياتر خلق لا United Kingdom ما هيو لوي أجين لشص مليون زياتر دانشتوانكي South Africa has a population of almost 50 million قادر رجي دانشتواني South Africa چنكا almost 50 million قادر بنزيكي 5 مليون look at this that's the exact number جمارة كيك همانا جمارة رئيسية جمارة exactكية جمارة دقيقة أجر كمك يعني عفوا أجر زور زياتر بيت زور زياتر بيت ياخد أجر زور كمتر بيت ياخد أجر كمتر أجر زورتر أم شار حالة طبعا هي if it is more than the exact number أجر زور زياتر بولا جماركي همانا we must to say over أجر زور زياتر بو بيست بلين over لسلو يوبو over ياخد more than أجر زور كمتر بولو جماركي همانا بولنا جماركي دياركا وكاوا ستاتستيكيك مانا بود ئامارێک مان هەبوو پێویستە گەر زۆر کەمتر بوو بڵین fewer or under or fewer ئەگەر زیاتر بوو لە ژمارەکە کەمێک زیاتر بوو ئەتوانین بڵین about or around ئەگەر کەمتر بوو لە ئێگزاکت نەمبەرەکەمان لە ژمارەکەمان کەمێک کەمتر بوو لە لاینەکەمان کەمێک کەمتر بوو ئەتوانین بڵین almost یاخود nearly بەڵام ئاگادار بن هەردووکیان about and around لەگەڵ almost nearly بەمانای نزیکەییەت بەمانای نزیکەیی بە نزیکەیی For this, for example, we have this statistic ئەمە ئەو ستاتیستیکە معنای بۆ نمونە ژمارەی دانیشتووان لە Philippines the population of Germany the population of Germany we have 80 in here and a little bit more than 80 look at this a little bit upper than 80 توزي زياتريكا ل 80 لهشتا كات أجر إما بمانويت جماري دانشتون populationi جرماني دياري بكين ألينجي there are about لبروي لا جمار exacta كمان برستريكا ألين about about أمو شي بكار أهنين there are about 80 million people in Germany 80 million people don't add s don't say 80 millions أغادان لبت is زياد نكم بو مليانك لبرو جمارة من هي كاتا they are as written in here they are about 80 million people in Germany بوشي about ما بكار هنا چوكا كميك لهشتاك زياتر بو اگر خوارتر بو ما انتواني بلين almost nearly واتواني بو امش almost nearly بكار بنين بلان بدقيقي اتواني بلين about or around around and about. Okay, in here, for example, when I ask you how many people live in Egypt, how many people live in Egypt? Look at Egypt. Egypt fewer than 80. لإجابة جماري دانشتوان كم تريك لهشتا million كاس. Okay, fewer than 80 million people. We can say, okay, there are almost 80 million people in Egypt. Okay, there are nearly. There are nearly 80 million people in Egypt. I'll write it. There are nearly 80 million people in Egypt. كاتب بمشوية رجي دانشتوانا كم دياري كرت nearly almost بو بكار هنا تشوك كميك لرجاكا كم ترى اگر زور كم تر بيت under fewer اگر زور زيادر بيت over and more than. We have this exercise number 4 in here. Let's solve it. Let's write the correct answer for them. Look at the chart and complete the sentence. We have this chart, we have this statistic أمام معناها بيس الجوابي أم برسيارانة بينو ببي أم جماراني كدراو لستاتستيكا كمانا. Okay, number 1. 90 million people in the Philippines. 90 million people in the Philippines. أما جماري فلبينا أما جمارة كيكا همانا. لور أوي زياتريكا أتواني بلين about أتواني بلين around وهروها أتواني بلين over ياخد more than. Okay, the number of Philippines more than 90 million. That's why we can say over or more than. Okay, but before that we must say they are we can say more or we can say over. We can say more than or we can say لما تواني more than بكار بينو أو تواني بلين they are over واتزياتر over 90 million people in the Philippines. Number 2. Dash 80 million people in Germany. Back to the statistic, Germany is in here. Said in here and we have upper than 80. That's why we can say about or around. Okay, they are sorry about my handwriting. They are, okay, 80 million. We have a little bit upper than 80 million. That's why we say around or more than or about. We can say about, we can say around, we can say over because that's more than 80. Okay, هر همي راتبه اتواني بلين about, اتواني بلين around, اتواني بلين over, اتواني بلين more than. تبروي بريجي زياتر اما كاتا هر چار يعني بو about, around, over more. For number 3, Ethiopia dash a population of. قاتل برأوي باسي جمارة أكين قاتل Ethiopia has a population, okay. Has a population of dash million people. Back to here, back to the statistic, we have Ethiopia and the number of Ethiopia less than 80 million. Okay, كاترجي Ethiopia كم تريك لها هشتا. We can say almost, we can say nearly وأتواني بلين about you around you شكل about you around you almost to near نزيك ليكو. But we can say almost or nearly. Almost or nearly. We can use one of them. Almost or we can say nearly. Number 4, Egypt dash a population. Egypt, that is singular, that's why we say has. But Egypt taka imalin has. Egypt has a population of dash 80 million. Back to here, Egypt 80 million. Okay, the number is fewer than 80. قد لبرج مارا كمان كم تريك لا hashtag, we can say under or we can say almost, we can say nearly, we can say fewer. Okay, we can say almost, nearly, fewer, under. I use under. هر چاريان بوي راستا بلام يكي لوانا بنوسيت كفايتا كاتواني هر چاريان بكار بهني چوكا بو رجي كم ترى. Vietnam, number 5 and the last one, Vietnam, that is singular and we must write has. Vietnam has a population of 85 million. Back to here, we have 85 and we have the number is more than 85. That's why we can say about, or we can say around, we can say over, we can say more than. Look at this. We can add 4. We can use 4 of them for describing this statistic in Vietnam. Okay, as you like. Use over, use more than, use about, use around. بضل يخوت هر كامي كان بكار بهينيت راستو راستر أشد. قرن أوي تو أو دستاجاني بكاري أهينيت كابون من زياتر بلا جماركة about to around over لقل more than. أجر كم تربي almost nearly ياخد عنده لقل fewer. Be careful about them. That's all about this paper. Let's turn this page. 3.7. Listen and underline the numbers you hear. Listen and underline. As I mentioned before, word stress in numbers. Some pairs of different numbers sound almost the same. The main difference is the stress. What is the difference in stress between 15 and 50? Look at the number. كاتك image ماركان معني وبيش أماجن بيكر أنا explain it. I explained that, for example, we have 10 and we have T. Words that ending with 10, words that ending with T. 15, 50. 17, 70. If we have 10, we must to focus at the second part. We must to focus on 10. We must to stress on 10. كاتك إما وشان معني كبتين كوتايام ديت. We must to stress on the second part. بيس اللام party دوما stress بخين السريو and we must to pronounce this louder and longer. بعدين كبرسترو قرستر بارتي جوام بشي جوام كاتينا بوترة. بلام أوشان كبتي كوتايانده بوننا 50 we must to stress on the first part. Okay, we must to stress on the first part, but for 15 we must to focus on teen. We must to stress on teen. كاتك أواني معني كبتي كوتايانده بيست إما stress بخين السر بارتي يكم يام بشي يكم كورسترو louder ترو longer تربوتره. أغاتن لو تبيني به that's important, that note that will help you to understand better and to listen carefully for the words. If we have a stress on the second part, it means we have teen. If we have a stress on the first part, we have T. Okay, we have this. I'll play the audio for you. Listen carefully. That is 13 or 30. That is 16 or 60. Okay, remember this note. Remember this stress. If we have a stress at the beginning, it must be T. If we have a stress on the second part, it must be teen. أجر stress كمان لسه party جوانبو أو تينا. أجر party يكمبو أو T. Listen carefully for audio 3.7. I'll play it.
.7 1. There are about 13. 2.
It has around 16.
3. They have nearly 70. 4.
They have 19.
5. There are more than 60. 6.
It has fewer than 50.
7. It has almost 18. 8.
There are under 50.
Okay, you hear that numbers? Okay, let's select the correct answer. Check your answer carefully. For number 1, 13. For number 2, it has around 16. Number 3, they have nearly 70. Number 4, they have 19. They are more than 60. Number 6, it has fewer than 50. Number 7, it has almost 18. Number 8, they are under 15 or under 50. Which of them? They are under 50. Okay, I'll play again. You can listen again. Focus on it.
3.7 1. There are about 13. 2.
It has around 16.
3. They have nearly 70. 4.
They have 19.
5. There are more than 60. 6.
It has fewer than 50.
7. It has almost 18. 8.
There are under 50.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for listening. Have a good time. If you have any question for this lesson, for this lecture, please ask, comment below in the classroom, or you can send any questions for my Gmail or the other Gmail that teacher Farhad give it to you. أتمنى إن هر رسالة هي لكومنت بنووسن یاخود بنێرم بۆ جیمێلەکەم کە مامۆستا فەرهاد دیاوێتی پێتان. Thank you so much. Have a good time. Goodbye.